Some PS1 games still look wild today. They didn't just age well, they straight up defied time. While most 90s games feel dead, these ones still slap in 2025. This ain't nostalgia. It's proof that good design never fades. Let's run it. It's a straight up masterpiece that most people slept on. Capcom really went all in here, blending that clean to D sprite work with detailed backgrounds that still look incredible today. Even on the limited hardware of the PS1, everything moves smooth: the animation, the transitions, the combat effects. It's wild how good it still looks, but visuals are just the start. This game's got depth. Real depth. The story dives into themes like destiny, war, power, and sacrifice without ever feeling forced. And the characters, Ryu and Fulu, are on to totally different paths, but their connection is what makes this game unforgettable. Their story hits hard. You're not just watching it, you feel it. And what's cool is that you don't even need to play the older titles. Breath of Fire IV stands strong on its own. It gives you all the lore you need while still delivering a full, standalone experience. The combat system also brings something special, turn-based. Yeah, but with a flow that keeps things fast and strategic. You're always thinking, always adjusting, but never stuck in boring menus. It's got that balance that so many RPGs missed back then, and the music, pure art. Each track fits the moment perfectly. Whether you're exploring peaceful villages or facing off intense boss battles, everything here was crafted with care. It's one of those games that doesn't scream for attention, but when you play it, you get it. Breath of Fire didn't just survive the PS1 era, it owned it. And even in 2025, it still feels legendary. This ain't just a game, it's a straight-up legend, even now. Symphony of the Night looks clean, stylish, and straight iconic. Back in the late 90s, when everyone was chasing 3D, Konami doubled down onto D and crushed it. Every frame feels like art. The Gothic castle, massive, detailed, and packed with secrets around every corner, and the transitions between areas, seamless. You don't feel like you're loading levels, you feel like you're inside the world. There's a reason this map design still gets copied today. But Symphony isn't just about the looks. The gameplay is smooth, tight, and addictive. You're not button mashing, you're slicing through monsters with precision, unlocking powers, and backtracking with new abilities. That sense of discovery never stops. You're constantly rewarded for exploring. Alucard moves like a beast, quick, fluid, and stylish. Every new move adds depth, every item matters. And then there's the soundtrack. Bro, from gothic rock to haunting piano, each track sets the mood perfectly. You don't just play this game, you feel it. Even when you're not playing, those melodies stay stuck in your head. What really sets this one apart is how timeless it is. It doesn't need crazy graphics or modern engines. It's all vibe, all substance, all heart, in a world of remakes and reboots. Symphony of the Night still stands untouched. Not because it's old, but because it nailed everything on the first try. This is the kind of game that reminds you why D will never die, and why the PS1 era had some of the most creative magic we've ever seen. This one, total game changer. Metal Gear Solid didn't just raise the bar, it became the bar. Hideo Kojima dropped something on the PS1 that felt way ahead of its time. Not just a stealth game, not just action, it was a full-blown cinematic experience in a little gray box from the 90s. Let's start with the vibe, the cold, industrial environments, the way the camera angles build tension, the sound of footsteps echoing down steel hallways. It's not just gameplay, it's atmosphere. And then there's the story. You're not just playing a soldier, you are Solid Snake. Every call on the codec, every boss fight, every twist, it pulls you in deeper. And the voice acting, bro, this was the 90s. And it sounded better than half the games dropping today. Each character had weight, emotion, and purpose. This wasn't background noise. It was straight up performance. But you know what really made Metal Gear Solid hit different? The way it messed with your head. You had a boss that read your memory card. A fight that made you switch controller ports just to win. A radio code hidden on the back of the CD case. Kojima didn't just want you to play, he wanted you to think. The game kept breaking the fourth wall, bending the rules, and making you feel like the console was alive. And even now, it still holds up. The pacing, the writing, the gameplay, all solid. No pun intended. Metal Gear Solid isn't just a classic. It's a milestone. One of those games that proves you don't need photorealistic graphics to tell a story that hits deep. You just need vision, and this game had plenty. This one hits different. For real, if you played it back in the day, you already know. The Legend of Dragoon wasn't just another RPG on the shelf. It was the RPG for a whole generation of PS1 players, and even now, it still feels legendary. Sony dropped this gem near the end of the PS1 era, and it came in swinging. Massive world, deep lore, cinematic cutscenes that blew our minds back then and, honestly, still look clean today. It had this big, epic energy. Like, every part of the game felt important. Let's talk combat. The addition system was crazy unique for its time. You didn't just mash buttons, you had to time your attacks perfectly. It kept you focused, locked in every single turn. And then there's the Dragoon transformations. Yo, When your character morphed mid-fight, wings out, full power goosebumps. Every time, it was flashy, it was powerful, and it felt earned. The story, pure fantasy gold. You've got war, betrayal, ancient powers, and a cast of characters that actually grow on you. Dart's journey feels personal. Each twist, each loss, each reveal, it sticks with you. And the world building. Insane. You're not just running. From town to town, you're diving into a world with its own history, its own gods, its own scars. The soundtrack also went hard. Emotional tracks that set the mood. Epic battle themes that still slap today. This game had vibe. But maybe the craziest part, it never got a sequel. No remake. Just one perfect shot, and that was it. Still, The Legend of Dragon carved its name into our PG history, and even now, in 2025, fans are still waiting for Sony to bring it back. That's the kind of impact this game had. Not forgotten, just timeless. Asterisk now that's right here. This wasn't just a racing game. Gran Turismo 2 was a straight-up revolution. Back when most racing titles gave you a handful of tracks and a few cars. This game came through like, nah, we're building an entire garage, and they did. We're talking over 600 cars, real licensed brands, and more tracks than you could memorize. For a PS1 game, that was unreal. It felt massive, like you had your own personal racing career in your pocket, but it wasn't just the content. The handling, the physics, everything felt tight. Each car moved different. You could feel the weight, the grip, the speed. Even with the tech limits back then, it felt real. This wasn't arcade nonsense, this was a full sim. And for a lot of us, it was the first time a game made driving feel like driving. The progression system, addictive as hell. You'd save up for your first real upgrade. Crush a few races, unlock new events by your dream car repeat. You were always chasing that next goal, that next trophy, that next perfect lap. And visually, it pushed the PS1 to its limits. Car models were clean, environments looked sharp. And the sound design, it was on point. Every engine had its own roar. Every track had its own vibe. Gran Turismo to set the tone for the whole franchise. If the first game opened the door, this one kicked it off the hinges. It showed the world that racing games could be deep, beautiful, and real. And even now, in 2025, that legacy still holds, because when you look back at the greats, this one's always in the conversation, a true heavyweight of the PS1 era. Asterisk this one, straight up different. Parasite Eve wasn't just a game, it felt like a full-blown movie you could control. Before survival horror had a formula, Squaresoft stepped in and flipped the script. They mixed RPG mechanics with dark, cinematic storytelling, and somehow made it all work perfectly. From the first scene, the vibe is heavy. You're dropped right into chaos, people combusting in a theater, mystery thick in the air, and Ibree standing in the middle of it all. She wasn't your typical hero. She was grounded, smart, human. You felt what she felt, and visually, Parasite Eve was on another level. The pre-rendered backgrounds were rich with detail, and the cutscenes, they hit hard, especially for the late 90s. It looked and sounded like something out of Hollywood. But what really set it apart was the mood. This game knew how to build tension every step through those empty New York streets. Every eerie track on the soundtrack, it stayed with you. The combat system was fire too. It wasn't fully turn-based, and it wasn't real-time either. It was this slick hybrid that let you move, dodge, and plan out attacks in a way that kept you on edge. It felt strategic, but never slow. You had to think, but also react fast. And leveling up wasn't just numbers, it gave you legit power. Every new ability felt earned. And we can't skip the soundtrack. Melancholic, creepy, sometimes straight up beautiful, it matched every moment perfectly. It wasn't just background noise, it drove the experience. Parasite Eve didn't follow trends. It made them. It was bold, smart, and ahead of its time. And even now, in 2025, it still feels fresh, still feels bold, still feels like something no one else has fully replicated. When Dead or Alive hit the PS1, it changed the whole vibe for fighting games. While most fighters back then felt clunky, stiff, or just slow, this one came out swinging fast, fluid, and flashy. Every punch, every kick, every dodge clean. It felt like you were actually in the fight. The animation was wild for its time. Characters didn't just move, they flowed. Dodging felt like second nature. And then you had the counter system. Bro, this wasn't just about button mashing. You had to read your opponent, time it right, and flip the whole match with a perfect counter. That changed everything. And the visuals, for a PS1 game, insane. Characters were detailed. The arenas had real depth, and the camera wasn't locked in, it moved with the fight. It gave the whole thing the cinematic feel that made every round more intense. You felt like you were fighting on a movie set. But what really made Dead or Alive stand out was the impact. It wasn't just another game in the pile. It set the foundation for one of the most iconic fighting franchises ever. You don't get to Dead or Alive 3, 4, 5, or 6 without this one breaking ground first. It showed what was possible, that a fighting game could be technical, beautiful, and still hype as hell. And guess what? Even now, in 2025, it still holds up. Boot it up today. It still feels snappy, still fun, still got that edge that made it special back then. Dead or Live on PS1 wasn't just ahead of the curve. It was the curve, asterisk now this one felt like it came from the future. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver didn't just push the PS1, it straight up broke it. When you booted this game up, you knew right away, this wasn't some basic hack and slash. This was dark, complex, and built different. You play as Raziel, a fallen vampire turned wraith, rising from the abyss with one goal: revenge. And from the first step, the world just pulls you in. Noskith is cold, twisted, decaying, and it looks incredible for a PS1 game. No loading screens between zones. No choppy transitions, just massive environments, detailed models, and a haunting atmosphere that sticks to your skin. But here's the real twist: this game had dual realms. You could shift between the material world and the spectral one on the fly. It wasn't just for visuals either. It changed puzzles, terrain, enemies. It was the gameplay. No one else was doing that back then. Honestly, barely anyone's done it since. And the combat, brutal, weighty, and satisfying. Raziel wasn't just swinging a blade, he was ripping through corrupted souls with pure vengeance. The Soul Reaver itself felt like a living weapon. Every time it activated, the game lit up. You felt powerful. The voice acting and storytelling were on another level too. It was poetic, theatrical, and deep. It didn't talk down to you, it challenged you. Made you pay attention. Raziel and Kain weren't just characters, they were mythic forces locked in a battle. That felt ancient. And yo, this game didn't hold your hand. No flashing arrows, no pop-up hints, just a brutal world. And you figuring it out on your own. That's what made it special. It respected the player, even now. Soul Reaver feels bold, ambitious, and unforgettable. In an era of safe remakes and copy-paste sequels, this one still stands tall. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver didn't follow trends. It carved its own path and dragged us all along for the ride. Asterisk if there was ever a game that felt like a dream you didn't want to wake up from, it's Chrono, released near the end of the PS1 era. This one wasn't just a sequel, it was something else entirely. A spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger, yeah, but also its own beast. And man, it still looks and sounds like magic even in 2020-5. From the jump, the art direction just hits. Soft colors, painterly backgrounds. Ocean towns bathe in sunlight, it's beautiful in a way few games have ever matched. It doesn't try to be realistic. It goes for something better, timeless. And it pulls it off perfectly. The soundtrack. Don't even get me started. Yasunori Mitsuda straight up blessed this game. Every track tells a story. From calm village tunes to haunting melodies that hit you right in the chest. It's one of those soundtracks that sticks with you for life. But let's talk gameplay. It ditched the traditional RPG format and gave us something fresh. The elemental system. The stamina-based combat. The way you build your party, it was complex, yeah, but super rewarding once you got into it. And with over 40 characters to recruit, your playthrough always felt unique. Some characters were weird, some were deep. All of them added flavor, and then a story. Bro, multiverse theory, body swapping, timelines crashing into each other. It's bold and confusing in the best way. You're not just saving the world. You're entangling a cosmic mess that spans dimensions and lives. And the way it connects subtly to Chrono Trigger. If you know, you know. Chrono wasn't afraid to be different. It took risks, flipped expectations, and gave us a story that actually made us think. It didn't explain everything. It let you feel it, and that's rare. Even after all these years, there's nothing quite like it. It's not just a PS1 classic, it's a piece of art, and in a world full of sequels that play it safe. Chrono reminds us what it's like when a game truly dares to be original. Asterisk Final Fantasy X wasn't just a return to roots, it was a love letter to everything that made our PGS magical, dropped right at the end of the PS1's life. Square knew this was their last shot on that console, and they delivered. Instead of chasing realism like FF8, they leaned into fantasy. Big time. Castles, airships, black mages, dragons, all of it dripping with style and heart. The visuals, stylized in the best way. The pre-rendered backdrop still looks stunning even now. It's like every screen is a painting you walk through, but the real magic is in the characters. Zidane, Vivi, Garnet, Steiner, each one with a personality that sticks. Vivi alone, one of the most emotionally real characters in gaming. No question, the story touches on life, death, identity, purpose, all without ever feeling heavy-handed. It flows, it pulls you in, and when those emotional hits land, they land hard. And the music, oh man, Nobuo Uematsu gave us a full symphony of unforgettable tracks. Play a few seconds if you're not alone and watch our PG fans everywhere start tearing up. It's that powerful. The combat system was clean, fast, and full of depth. Every ability felt earned. The equipment system actually taught you skills, making every piece of gear matter. It was smart design all the way through. Final Fantasy X is that rare kind of game, the kind that feels complete, like it was made with pure love for the genre. the players, and the craft, even now. It stands tall, not just as one of the best on PS1, but as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Asterisk, so yeah, some PS1 games didn't just age well, they aged like legends. They proved that great design, heart, and soul will always outshine graphics and tech. And if you've made it this far in the video, you're a real one. Drop your favorite PS1 game in the comments. I read every single one, and if you felt the nostalgia, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and let's keep this retro vibe alive. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.